Good morning. Welcome to the discussion segment of Good Morning Anambra today. It is Friday, so it's a weekend. Some of us are already getting excited. Perhaps that's why we want to look at a very important topic that you too want to be part of it. Recently, have you seen any building collapse around your area? Or anyone trying to give way? Okay, we're going to talk about all this today. And the topic we have built for you, stopping building collapse in Nigeria. My name is Ijoma Uche, and I have AJ with me. AJ, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Building collapse is what we're talking about, and it's really, really interesting. And I believe we all came out from different buildings this morning to be here. But how sure can you be that the foundation that building of yours is standing is actually, strong enough for it not to collapse within the time frame it's meant to be standing? And in the studio this morning, we have Builder Kingsley Nweke, who is the chairman, Nigeria Institute of Building, NIOB, Anambra State Chapter. Good morning, Builder.
Good morning, all. Good morning.
Yes. And then you were almost fighting with an engineer. Who's responsible for what? I liked it.
No, we just have to express ourselves and let the public know the truth about building construction and the role of professionals in the industry.
Because that seems to be that clash. The construction, the architect, the estate surveyors, and a whole lot of them.
Yes.
And maybe in a very short while, you need to draw a little bit difference between these categories of people, and before we talk about what we're getting there. Yes.
Okay.
The house, who comes first, second, third.
Okay. In the building industry, thank you very much for that. In the building industry, we have several construction professionals, and also we have building services. Let me start from the very beginning. When you're talking about building, building is after food and shelter. Building comes next. Sorry, after food and clothing, shelter comes next as one of the basic needs of man. And then in recent times, immediately since we started building high-rises due to aesthetics and lack of land, you realize that there is need for professionalism so that the building will not be a death trap to the developer or the occupant. In the beginning, the 7 construction professionals, I will name and explain. When you're talking about an area, a vacant land, you should first of all involve the surveyor who comes in to survey the area that is now called Oka or Enugu Agide or wherever, or maybe Enugu or something like that. Yeah, you can now say, okay, Oka has a land mass of so square kilometers. It is the work of the surveyor that brings out this plan and parcelates it. The parcelation is done by the town planner, who parcelates it. I'm talking about the second professional now. I talk about the land surveyor, talking about the town planner now.
The land surveyor will give you the quality of the land?
No. The land surveyor gives you the area of land.
Okay.
How many square kilometers you have in that area.
Okay.
He gives you there's what we call contour. I'm not a land surveyor, but I can use their words, one way or the other, as one of the professionals in the industry. The contour, and you have the area, you call it maybe the places that is high above sea level, places that is low, below sea level, and all that. Mountainous area, the valleys, these are all inculcated in the land surveyor's plan.
Okay.
Then you have the town planner. The town planner is responsible for the parcelation of the lands. He will give you the area which the surveyor, the land surveyor has done. He will now bring it out, giving you the low density area, the high density area. This place will be government houses, this place will be GRA, this is high density area, where you have the concentration of markets and all that and all that. Bring out the churches, and it is the work of the town planner. He plans the town. And if that is approved, that is what they call the master plan of every town.
Okay.
That is the work of the town planner. Now the surveyor comes in again to bring out, now as a developer, when you come in, you want to buy from what has been parcelated, you need a surveyor to come and pick that particular plot, that this plot now, let's say plot 101 belongs to Okeke Okafor. You now title it, is now in your name. It is the same surveyor that comes in at that point in time. Then after which, you now talk about the estate valuer. Or rather, while you are about to build or purchase.
That is after acquiring the land.
Town planner.
Before acquiring the land, ideally, your estate valuer should be able to advise you in the area that you should buy. That this area is, this is the amount, the value of this area.
Okay.
You know, you can't just go to buy a land and they are telling you it's 100 million. But if you have an estate valuer, you can tell you, no, the value of this place is 20 million.
So what if I want to sell it 50? It's my land.
Well, it depends.
And the value I said is 20.
Land is sold according to the area. That is where today you can still get a land for 1 million naira. And in some area, they are telling you 200 million.
Okay.
It has to do with the value of the land. How would you know? It is the estate valuer that does all that. He will still come in later on. You know. Then when you have purchased the land, your surveyor surveys it for you, lift your title, then you need an architect for the unit plot that you want to build. The architect comes in. As the client, you tell your architect what you want to build. What do you want to build? What you want to build? He will ask you, I need a duplex. I need it to have a penthouse. I want to have a chapel. I want to have this. He will be taking notes. Then that is what they call the client brief. You brief the architect what you want.
Your idea of a house.
Exactly. They call it the client brief. Because you give him what you want. He will design according to your needs, not according to his. Right? So when you have done that, he has done that design, he comes to the client, and after all said and done, and the clients accept it. If he doesn't, oh please, I want this place to be adjusted, this, according to the client's needs. And then if that is done, then the architect, this area I'm talking about is what they call pre-construction stage now. It starts from the architect. Pre-construction stage. That design he has brought is the architectural, called the architectural design. With that architectural design alone, is the aesthetics, is the dream.
Just on paper, huh?
On paper, yes. On paper. He's a designer. Just like the surveyor and the estate town planner. Now, you now, maybe through your architect or the client himself, can look for the structural engineer that will design the structure. That is where the civil comes in. When you're talking about civil engineering is a vast course. In fact, as a matter of fact, even architecture and building came out of civil engineering.
I wanted to ask you what the architecture did, and then what do you call it, the civil engineer is coming to do again.
Yes, I will explain that. That is where I'm coming in. The aspect of civil engineering that is needed or that is paramount in building structure is what we call structural engineering. Civil engineering is a first degree course. Then when you want to go to master's degree, it's an A-level, it's 700 level course. You now want to master in either structural engineering. So a civil engineer is not qualified for any building design. I mean structural design. So it's a 700 level course. So what is as well as you want to master in structures, or you want to master in maybe highway or hydraulic works, that's water engineering. And all
so
that.
Where does it come in? Where does a civil engineer come in?
That's what I'm talking about.
Before he gets the master's.
That's structural engineer, an aspect of civil engineer. But civil engineer, in quotes, is not needed in
If you
works.
stop at civil engineering, that's first degree.
No.
So you don't come in anywhere.
No.
So you don't have any job to do with that.
No, you do.
Until you get your master's.
No. You have, if you when you are writing a project, you want to choose your project thesis, whether in highway, whether in water engineering, or in structural. So if that streamlines you to structural if you are choosing structural. So a typical civil engineer, which is highway engineering, has no business with structural work. It is a horizontal construction. Horizontal construction in the sense that everything you do is on a horizontal, such as bridges, roads, dams, culverts, that is drainages. These are all part of civil engineering. But if you're talking about a vertical construction, then you are talking about building, architecture, and structural engineer.
Okay. So we stopped at structural.
Structural engineer is a part of civil engineer. That is why whenever you are talking about building, you will hear them say civil structural. Civil structural.
Okay. Okay.
So,
after the architecture.
After the architecture,
it is the structural
engineer.
So what is he going to do?
The structural engineer designs. It's like giving bone to the flesh.
Of
The
what the
flesh
architect
is the architectural design, but the bone is the structural design, which is the structural members of the house, which is the columns, beams, and all that, and the slab.
Okay, those ones won't come in the architectural design?
No. It's not the work of the architect.
Okay.
It's not the work of the architect.
Okay.
He designed, that is where when you come to the site, you will see 16 mm rod, maybe 4x16, or 4x12, or 6x16. You now see the reinforcement because it is detailed in the structural design. He designs the structural parts.
Based on the weight.
Based on
the weight it should carry on.
Exactly. Based on the use of the project and the architectural design.
Okay.
Now, when you are done with the structural design, then if it's a government project, the quantity surveyor comes in to give you the cost. However, you need an electrical engineer, which is, these ones are part of the services, building service, they call it building services. Electrical, water engineering.
At what stage?
During the design, I'm talking about pre-construction stage.
That's what I'm saying. At what stage do they come in now? Because we are structural. We just move from structural.
By the time you get the architectural design, get the structural design,
then electrical comes in.
And,
water.
What's it called?
Plumbing.
Yes, they call it mechanical. Always plumbing, whether
it's under mechanical.
It's mechanical, yes.
Oh, really?
This was now coming to make up the design. All these designs make up what we call the building document.
Okay.
And a building document is done by several construction professionals. Now, all these documents are handed over to the quantity surveyor who now brings out the bill of quantity, the cost implication
of the building.
Of that building. So he checks the architectural work, the sizes of the reinforcement provided. And mind you, if you provide 20 mm reinforcement for a building, one of 20 mm rod is about 20,000. So you see, he plays a key role.
A key role in costing.
So that you will know whether you're going to
fund the project. Now, when he is done, the builder now comes in to provide what we call building production management documents. That building production management document entails how you intend to carry out the project on site. Your preparation to go to the next stage, which is construction stage. The building production management document includes the program of work. We call it construction program. How long you intend to spend in a particular work, in a particular stage of work.
the foundation,
Exactly.
the blushing, the dating.
Exactly. It is based on that that when you see a project awarded, you will hear that this project is going to last 4 months. And sometimes government will even give you date of completion. How did the government get that completion date? It is from the program of work that has been produced. Oh yes, that's the document provided by the builder. Construction program, project quality management plan. The plan that you have for the quality of that project, the quality of the materials and the craftsmanship coming into site, the quality of the assembly.
Is the builder only concerned with building structures, houses? Do they come in when you build roads and other things?
No. They don't come in when you build road, except building structures or anything that has to do with, building, basically.
Okay. All right, then, after the builder.
Building or any other structures, not just building. Structures, but not bridges.
What other structure comes in after building?
There are a lot of buildings. You can build a tower.
Okay, they're all buildings.
Oh, they are all buildings.
They're all buildings. Okay, after the builder, who comes in?
It could be a tunnel. It's still,
Okay, those ones. Tunnel is under construction.
Yes.
Okay, so after the builder, who next?
After the builder, nobody else. The builder, these documents are what you need, and that is what we call the building documents. These documents are brought together, then you now look for either, anybody can be a contractor. If it is a government project, it can be given to any contractor. It can be a trader. He may have the money to pursue the project. He may have the facilities. But what we are talking about now is who executes. It is one thing to own something, but another thing, who executes. Then when you now come to the construction stage proper, it is the builder that carries out the execution of the project from the beginning to finish. Now, during construction stage, you need the surveyor to give you levels. Remember I mentioned surveyor earlier. The surveyor comes to give you levels.
What do you mean by levels?
Right? Level. If it is depending on the topography of the land,
okay,
and you need level so that your building will not be lower than the existing road or the proposed road.
Okay.
That is why you see today some buildings after construction, you will see that the water, if after the government has done the road, water will be entering into some people's houses. In some area, people don't live in their ground floor anymore because of the flooding. That is because they didn't do the right thing. But if a builder is on site, he knows what to do.
That's something you said.
Small project. You take your level.
Okay.
You understand? With your leveling instrument.
There's something you said here that really struck me. After all these professional inputs in building a house, you now hand it over to a contractor that is not schooled in anything. Yes. So are you now not saying that the problem of building collapse could come from that angle? Because the contractor could, diffuse some of the things that you have planned and then try to cut corners to save cost. And that's when you have building collapse.
Yes.
Or is there any way that all these people, all these professionals, still come back to the structure to supervise, one, whether this structure that I design is what I designed that is coming up, the structural engineer, making sure that the rust and everything that he proposed.
Yes. I was coming to that. Okay. I was coming to that before you cut me off a little bit.
I got scared when you said that anybody can build a house. All this
the builder is the person that executes the building project.
Okay.
And why he is building it, he builds in line with the architectural design, with the structural design. These are designers. With the provisions of the services, electrical and mechanical, and all that, and what have you. As he is building, that is why when a builder is on site, if there is a discrepancy between the structural and the architectural plan, there then hence need for a site meeting. That's what do we do? Looking at this plan, there is a little discrepancy. Then you have a site meeting among the professionals and then you discuss, So what the architect now does is he comes in as a consultant because this is his design we're talking about. He comes in as a consultant to supervise what the builder is doing to ensure that it's in line with his architectural input. As well as the structural engineer, he comes in to supervise, to ensure, inspect and supervise to ensure that the builder is carrying it according to his own professional input. This is why whenever these professionals see something that is not in tandem with what they have provided in the plan, they will not talk to the workers on site. They will ask for the builder. Because it is the builder that will give you the answer that you seek. Please, this is not what I have designed. Then he'll come out. And explain. Okay. So, but some of the practices that we see here and there is...
I was actually going to ask you, so if you have all these professional inputs in building a house and then you still have building collapse in this side of the world, I don't think it's possible. Now, let's now drive to where we're going this morning. What do you think are the most common causes of building collapse in Nigeria?
Yes, there are a lot of causes of collapses.
Most common causes.
Most common causes. One, there's something you mentioned, like I told you earlier, that anybody can be a contractor. And it's true, anybody can be a contractor. It can even be a professional. It can be a builder that is a contractor. It can be an architect that is a contractor. But who does the execution of the project? The contractor is the person that gets the contract from the financier. Then you now have the construction team, which includes the builder handling it, the architect and the structural engineer that is supervising it, and all that. It's a synergy. You must synergize for one to get it right. Now the problem, what causes building collapse? Let me start from that contractor. Most times when you give it to a contractor, it can be a lawyer. It can even be a businessman who has no knowledge on building. But he has the money and the vision to be a contractor. Maybe he has somebody in the government and the contract is given to him.
So I can be a contractor?
You can, of course, why not? Once you have register the company, get a carbon certificate, get current certificate, get all these things, put it in order, then you submit.
Current certificates?
Yes, of
course. As a contractor?
As a contractor, if you are talking about profiling, that is the company's profile, you must have the services of all the professionals required to execute a project. And
in Nigeria?
Of course.
It's laughable. Let's continue.
So now, as I was saying, the contractor may decide to, maybe due to ignorance, get anybody, can be an architect. Sometimes our people, most professionals, even deceive themselves. They will tell contractor, don't worry, we have a building team, and then you give it to the person. Sometimes people will naturally want to avoid the right professionals just to cut corners. This is one of the causes of collapse. Another cause of collapse, which is very key, is the professionals themselves. The professional bodies. The professional body should play a very key role in stopping building collapse. Let me give you an example. In some areas, even though the current chairman of ASUBEL, that is the Physical Planning Board, has changed the narrative. But before now, the practices that you see here and there is that you see a draftman who is not even an architect design an architectural.
You didn't make mention of a draftsman in all this your enumeration.
Okay.
So now, where does a draftsman now come into the picture?
Yes, everybody has. How do I put it? Everybody has an apprentice, a builder. Your apprentice is your mason, your carpenter, your fitter, iron workman, your laborers. These are your apprentices.
Okay.
The architects, they have the draftsman.
Okay.
That when you design something, you give it to them and finish up and bring to you. In surveying, the boy, the people that will hold the pole for them as they do all sort of designs. Okay. So every profession has it. In medicine and surgery, even in medicine, you have not as the doctor. For the architect, they have the draftsman.
Now we interpret the work to the artisans.
No. You don't interpret.
He complements, or rather, he completes the job of the architect. Is that
when
what
the
you're
architect is on seat, he wants to do a design. He wants to carry out the client's brief. When he does the sketches, he will give to his craftsman to complete it, to finish it up. Because design is not easy, actually. So they have to sit, use either their Archi design, AutoCAD, Revit, so many other things, software that they use. They will finish the work and bring to his organ, which is the architect, to cross-check if the work is okay. And if it is okay now, he has approved it. He said, okay, very good, go and give it some finishing touches. And when he does that, so the architect pays the draftsman, as well as the builder pays his artisans. It is like that in every profession. Even the structural engineer has their draftsmen as well.
You may have noticed that that's why some of them are losing their jobs, because the draftsman now goes behind to take up
It is because we don't have the policies. It is because we don't have policies, and it's because the professional bodies are not doing anything about it.
Is the draftsman training anyway?
Of course, he's trying to design
Did he go to school as an architect?
No, you don't need to go to school. He's not an architect.
So who trained him? The architect?
Yes, it could be the architect that trained him. Okay. You can, if you want to learn a software, you go pay some money. Just like you learn your, what is it called? Your normal MS projects, computer training, and teach you all these things. But that doesn't make you an architect.
As
I was saying, people get designs. Give to them the draftsman. They tell you, don't worry, I can design it for you. They will design it for you without the architects. And when they go to the physical planning board, you see them, somebody will collect as low as 2,000 naira, 5,000 naira, and stamp these drawings. It happens with the structural
verifications.
No, he will look at it. If it's okay, he will stamp it. Now, as an architect, what have you gained? I have seen in Abuja where designs are charged for 2.something million naira. But here in Anambra, you are giving somebody, you are charging a work 100,000. He will tell you you're not serious. If you're not doing it, 30,000 naira, leave it. How would they survive? Now you now see them flooding into the field to go and carry out what is not their training. It happens with the structural designs. Most times, I have been in the system, I have seen where the architectural design does not tarry with the structural design. They will just go to the system. Some people will go to the system, bring out anything that looks like what the architect has designed and put it there. And of course, the town planner is not trained to interpret those drawings. It's not his training. And then they will start the drawing. Then when you come out, when we have you as the builder, when you look at it, you know that there is a problem.
So what do you do at that point?
At that point, you either tell the client to look for somebody to design it for him, sending the architectural design to the client, and let the client look for the structural engineer to get him the the structural design of it, which you will now use to do the work. Because if you do it like that, you will run into problems. That is one of the basic problems we are having. It happens with the builders. So the draftsmen are taking over the job from them. For the builders, the mercenaries are taking over the work from us. I have gone for a project. I saw my foreman bidding the same job. I said,
Glad to have you back on that short break. We are still talking about building collapse and the reason why we're having such things happening in Nigeria. That was what we were talking about before that little break. And now we are back. Let me ask our builder here in the studio talking about Mweke. Now, in my own opinion, I feel building collapse it's endemic because it cuts across every nook and cranny of this country. It happens in the even high-rise buildings, buildings that billionaires are building are collapsing. Yes. Buildings that people that are managing with little resources are building are collapsing. So it's not a case of lack of funds to a certain extent. I think it's a case of professionals, you understand, not doing what professionals ought to do. Now, don't you think that stiff penalties, withdrawal of licenses and probably jail terms will reduce builders from cutting corners and doing the right thing?
Not builders.
No, when I mean builders, I mean all.
You're not
developers.
Everybody that has to do with building.
Exactly.
From the quantity surveyor down to the builder.
Exactly. Okay, sorry, why I corrected you is that, builder is a professional, is a profession, is a name of a particular profession, which is what people don't normally get.
Okay.
So, but when you say builder, but a lot of people will refer to it, both the developer and contractor as a builder.
And everybody.
Thank you. Okay, you said you talked about license.
Yeah, license, revocation of license,
Yes.
and then jail term.
Yes.
Because some of them commit murder.
The problem is that we have that in every profession. We have the ethics, we have the do's and the don'ts in every profession. But due to the problem that we are having in different professions, everybody wants to stand, some got water. Everybody, most people are trying to protect their own without, doing the needful. And what will you do? Highest you will do is to withdraw their license. But when you withdraw their license, it doesn't stop them from knowing what they know as a professional. Mind you, the people that you are talking about, the professionals now. Now the professionals, as I am a builder, if I get myself involved in doing architectural design, structural design, without the services of the structural engineer, and the building collapses, I'm culpable. So what am I supposed to do? I carry out my own job according to my profession. But if I fail to do so, what the professional body, they won't jail you. It's not their job to do that. What they can do is to cut all ties with you.
So what of the money the person
I'm coming to that.
invested?
I'm coming to that. Once they cut all ties with you, revoke your license, they have done their part. But the problem now is, it will not stop me or not the person from going about. It's not everybody. It's not everybody that knows that you don't have license. Right? It is only your professional body that knows about that. Then you can still go about. People don't hear news. Go about collecting buildings and you're still doing it. And you're going scot-free. And of course, you don't have the enforcement agency.
That's exactly where I want us to go now. Regulation, the framework, and the enforcement, because that's where the problem lies. Okay, so what building codes and regulations are in place in Nigeria to prevent building collapse? And then, how effective are this enforcement? Has anybody been punished?
Okay,
are there
we
these
have,
codes at all?
yes.
If there are, has it been used on anybody?
We have building code. And building code, that building code is an quality national building code. But like I said, domestication is a problem. This code is to be domesticated in various states.
And even local governments.
Yes, a code is a guideline. And this code was prepared by different professional bodies. But it is laughable when you come out in the public and you're talking about the code, they will tell you it has not been passed to law. You don't pass a code to law. It's not a law, it's a guideline. A code is a guideline. So what you do in your state is to domesticate it.
Is it the professional builder that made the code?
All the construction professionals, we have 7 of them. We call it the National Building Code. And when you go to it, you see the people that prepared it.
Does it supposed to pass through the National Assembly?
Yes, actually, it should pass through the National Assembly.
So what are you talking? It's a bill, so that means it must be passed into law.
But when
before
you're
it can
talking
be
about
enforceable.
a code, well, of course. But when you're talking about a code is a guideline.
Code of conduct. That this is how you're supposed to do a thing, and if you don't, what are the punishment attached? Is this just taking your certificate, like you said, they take your certificate and then you go on working, nobody knows that it's been withdrawn?
For instance, what we are saying is that in fact, I have been a member of the collapse building site, a panel of the collapse building site, the last one that was inaugurated by the governor. We concluded our work last year. And one of the recommendations that we made was for the government to create a building control agency. The building control agency, different or separated from the
physical town planning board.
Yes, because when you come
it will be a reputation of job.
No, not at all. The town planner, what they do is development control. Development control is different from building control. Development control is the development. You are trying to see the best position for a particular structure. For instance, you mounted a high tension here. If there's a high tension wire here, you're not supposed to build under it.
The town planners are taking care of that.
That's what I'm saying. That's development control. Okay. That's their job. You're building a filling station close to a residential house. It's development control. They will stop it. You are building your structure beyond the building line. It's development control.
So where does the other one you mentioned come in?
But when you're talking about quality control, building quality control, you are talking about the quality of the structure itself, which is done by the core professionals. The core professionals. And that is what is lacking in Anambra today. Because, most time, before now, whenever there is building collapse, people will say, physical planning are not doing their work. It is not true. It is not their job. They are doing their own to the,
Can we incorporate this too?
To incorporate this too will mean they need to employ professionals like builders, architects, structural engineers.
Yes, now, if we are going to create a new board, you will employ. So let's have these people inside an existing board that are doing similar jobs.
Yes, there used to be, or rather there is a unit. A unit in physical planning board now, but they don't have it in ACDA at all. It doesn't exist in ACDA now. Even the builders, architects that are there are following them too.
Okay, I think there's a lot for us to talk about when it comes to building collapse now. But just in a sentence, profile one solution. What do we do to ensure that our building stop collapsing?
The solution to building collapse is professionalism, synergy among the professionals.
Beautiful.
Enlightenment to developers on who is actually responsible.
Is that what you are doing this week? Because you say it's Builders Week this week.
What we are doing this week is sensitization. And the sensitization is as a result of the building collapse that happened in Lagos that killed a lot of school children.
That's so many of them.
Yes.
But what are you doing in Anambra State today?
That is what,
in your
not
building
just
week?
in Anambra State, it's a nationwide
It's a
program.
nationwide.
So we are using 13th of every March, 13th of March every year.
Okay.
To rally about, sensitization program, tell people about building collapse and the need to engage the right professional, the professional builder. We'll go visit MDAs, we visit schools with a program we call Catch Them Young.
Okay.
Visit them, tell the children who are about to take jump about the building profession, because a building profession is very lucrative. You don't need to look for job. You don't need to look for job.
Come here and market your profession. You will pay me for this marketing.
Of course. As you are now, you need shelter. You need shelter.
Yes.
If it's somebody that is paying house rent with the rate of house rent now, crazy rate of increase in
I know.
house rent now. Everybody needs to build a house. So you need a builder. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You've really given us what we wanted this morning by expanding a whole lot of issues that hitherto been bothering our mind concerning building collapse.
One of the major basic
Our time is up. We'll call you next time.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make this point. The basic point is if there is a creation of building control agency in the state. So we are hoping that the government will do so in order to help us, the professionals, because our heart is bleeding.
Thank you. Do your paper. Do your paper. Your proposal and submit to the government. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Builder Kingsley Nweke, Chairman, Nigerian Institute of Building, NIOB, Anambra State Chapter. Thank you very much for coming this morning.
Thank you.
Okay. And AJ, I think we have to make a way for the next program, which is...
We'll catch the bus.